Hello, everyone. I don't have any audio.
Nobody has their mic on yet.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our council meeting. And I'd just like to start the council meeting off by acknowledging we were on the ancestral and unceded territories of the Maui and Chippewa people. And we can start off with the call of the meeting to order. It's close to 7. Introduction of late items. Anyone have late items to introduce? Councilor Remar?
Yeah, I have 2 late items. One, a forestry discussion invitation for new business. And the second being a notice of motion to have staff provide a report on a revitalization tax exemption.
Terrific, thank you. Mr. Roy, do you have any late items that you want to introduce to the agenda at this time?
No, your worship.
Great. Okay, let's look at approval of the agenda. Oh, you have one more? Sorry, Nikki.
That's okay.
Counselor, oh yeah, I'm in a meeting now, so Counselor Pickard.
Thank you through the chair. And I just wanted to add one more late item, maybe under new business or old business, just AVIC, the conference and our attendance for UBCM and AVIC this year. And maybe just double check that we want to do any resolutions that are due February 6th, if we want to put any in. So maybe we'll
So
talk
you
about
want to put that under new business 14 on AVIC?
Sure.
And you're looking at the dates and who's going?
Yeah, if
Okay.
we're going to split up AVIC and UBCM and who, that's coming up in April.
And UBCM?
And then the resolutions are due February 6th. So if we want to put any in. Thank you.
Terrific. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, then let's move ahead. The motion now would be that the agenda be adopted as amended. Who would care to move that? Councillor Pickard, second by Councillor Pringle. Any discussion? Favor? Carried. Done. Adoption of the minutes. That the regular meeting minutes from January 20th, 2025 be adopted as presented. Who'd care to move that? Councillor Pringle. Second, Councillor Waymire. Any discussion? Seeing none, call for a question. All in favor? Carried. No public and statutory hearings. No unfinished business. No delegations. Administrative reports. I'm really liking these administrative reports. Holy smokes. Okay, the motion is that the report from the Chief Administrative Officer be received. Who care to move that? Councillor Waymire, second by Councillor Pickard. Discussion? Anyone? I'll start off with some sentiments that I shared with the council in the past, that this is absolutely a no-brainer. I think it was Councillor Pickard who coined that phrase. And then I think the other one from Councillor Pringle is I'm fully in support. So I would think that when I look at this, this is kind of falls within the same category as the last grant that came before us. And I think, again, it's a great grant application, and I'm going to fully support it. I like the idea of us being able to get the money to upgrade our radio and our antenna that we're going to have behind this building and that in that adjoining building in the back, and the $15,000 that we had approved in the budget, I believe, for upgrades to the server that was going to come from the COVID-19 grant would not have to be taken out of the COVID-19 grant. I would be using this grant, and that money would be freed up again, go back in the account. We could apply it to something else. So, wow, I like that stuff. You know, that's the more grants we get, the farther our dollar goes. So I'm just amazed. And then there's also some money in there to provide our emergency coordinator some money to do some training. So anything that improves our equipment and allows for some training and upgrades some equipment, allows us to save grant money that we already have that we can allocate something else. I think it's absolutely terrific. And again, I know I kind of harp on this again, but I always like to acknowledge acknowledge the efforts of our staff, because they're the folks that are out there and they're searching for these grants, and they're scouring everywhere to find them, and they're bringing them home and providing that finance in order to do those things where we don't have to tax people, in order to get it. So we're getting great service from the limited staff that we have. I don't know how they do all this stuff, and I probably don't want to ask, or I'll have to probably pay some more money, so I won't ask that. So, but I'm very appreciative of the fact that they're doing all this stuff for us. Any other discussion? Councillor Pickard.
Thank you through the chair and well said, Mr.
Thank you.
Mayor. I agree on all counts. And we're really lucky to have the SRD working so hard too and be able to leverage our partnerships with them. And so thanks to them for taking the lead on this grant and many other ones. And like you mentioned too, I like how this one has some disaster training, communications training to village personnel. So we get the equipment, but also the training. So we're better ready for anything.
Terrific.
So I'm fully in support of the grant also.
Thank you, Councillor Pickard. Anyone else care to comment? No, seeing none. Great. Call for the question. All in favor? Okay, passed unanimously and receipt. The second part of this is, and I'll read it out, the motion is that as part of the Village of Gold River's ongoing work regarding disaster preparedness, that an application for financial assistance under the Community Emergency Preparedness Fund November 2025 Emergency Operations Center Grant be authorized for submission to the UBCM in partnership with Strathcona Regional District, and that the Strathcona Regional District be authorized to receive and manage the grant funding on behalf of the Village of Gold River if the application is successful. Who would care to move that? Councillor Pickard, and second by Councillor Waymeyer. Any further discussion? Probably. No, everybody good? Good. Okay, call for the question. All in favor? Done. Excellent. Reports from council. Councillor Fossin, you're up.
No reports at this time.
Thank you, Councillor Fossin. Councillor Pickard?
Thank you through the chair. Just a quick report on some aquaculture and salmon watershed stuff. January 21st, we were copied on a joint letter signed by 69 suppliers and service companies to the BC Salmon Aquaculture Task Force and the Premier. And this was a really fantastic letter too. I don't know if everyone read it, but it had 69 suppliers that would be impacted also by the closure on the ban on marine net pens. So it really kind of showed like how broad the sector is and how big it is and what kind of effects that would have. So that was a really powerful letter that some businesses in Gold River also were signed on to. And then I think we have our meeting next week with the task force on the salmon aquaculture transition for BC. Maybe, we think, hopefully. But so those phases of engagements, we had quite a few meetings and hopefully an in-person maybe next week. That phase of the consultations is over and now they're kind of moving into the second phase, the next phase, which is the regulatory amendments, so more with the DFO. And that they were hoping that they will, take into account all the letters of support we did, all the engagements, our aquaculture businesses and now all the ancillary businesses, and just understand what a big impact it will have to us. So thanks to everyone for doing the support letters and participating. And we look to have kind of a final plan coming up, which says, who knows, sometime 2025. And then I also attended last week the Nooka Sound Watershed Society monthly meeting. So just the regular monthly meeting. And this is always really an inspiring meeting full of lots of partnerships with local industry, MFN, salmon parks, and different layers of government. And one really neat thing that came out of that meeting, like we were just speaking about our partnerships with Strathcona Regional District, that Strathcona Regional District is doing a new watershed resilience kind of report. And they're looking at different watershed resilience projects that are happening in the SRD and going to put towards a report called SRD Ecosystems Restoration, A Path Forward. And this will provide a high-level matrix of potential opportunities and guiding steps towards shelf-ready projects. The purpose is to identify existing known projects, tapping into local organizations and knowledge, identifying how the SRD may be able to support these projects. So they reached out to find out what projects NSWS is doing and how they can support. So really kind of bringing together different groups and organizations and just leveraging on each other's expertise and knowledge. So that was the update there. Thank
Such
you.
an important industry in our community. So important. Got to support them. Anything else, Councillor Pickard? If you wanted, I don't want to cut you off. Good. Thank you. Councillor Pringle?
I'd just like to say thank you to the crews that kept our town rolling over the weekend with all the snow. And for keep getting out there, and we need as much salt as we can get. Those roads are treacherous. But thank you to everybody who put in the work to make sure we were all safe.
Well, I echo those sentiments, and when it get to me, I'll probably just repeat what you said, but yeah. Councillor Weimer.
Nothing to report.
Terrific. Gives me some time then. First thing I'd like to share with the community is that at the recent Strathcona Regional District meeting where I sit as a director, there was a discussion again on the Connected Coast project. And I think people are all wondering what's happening with City West and the backbone and when we're going to get lit up. And it was really encouraging to hear the conversations from the CAO out there and the folks from the company that were responsible for it. But the summary was that they have decided to relocate the service into Gold River. Originally, they were going to circumnavigate the island and bring it up from the foreshore up the Gold River Mill Road and along the telephone poles, but that wasn't viable for a number of reasons. So what they've done is they revisited the program and rescoped it, and they are going to run the backbone from Campbell River terrestrial across the island and bring it into Gold River. And when was I there? A couple of weeks ago, they had already issued the contracts, and the shovels were in the ground, and they were starting to do the excavations and starting to lay the cable. So it's on its way. They're hoping they're hoping to have the backbone in the community and sometime in late spring, early summer, and they'd be able to connect up to what we have already with our last mile that we've got in there, and then they'll be able to light up half the community at that point, and then finish off all the other applications that were in the community and install those connections so that the rest of the community can get lit up. So it was really encouraging. I was I'll be frank, I was fairly discouraged with that project and how it was going, and there were some challenges with them, and I wasn't sure whether or not it was even a viable project anymore, or whether or not it would ever come to fruition. But the Strathcona Regional District and City West persevered, and I'm hoping that we'll see that service in our community by late spring, early summer, and what an impact that should have on business opportunities in the community for people who want to work through that medium. They can work anywhere. They need that. They can come live in Gold River, enjoy this lifestyle, and still be able to access the technology that they need in order to do that, as well as the citizens in the community having access to that. So yeah, I'm really encouraged. I'm glad to be able to share that with you. There's been a lot of times when we've been going through this project where I haven't been able to share things with you. I'm glad that I wasn't able, because it was really discouraging news, but this is really positive. So I'm glad to be in a position where I can share that with you. Like my colleague here, Councillor Pringle, I also want to recognize and thank our Public Works crew for the outstanding job that they did in opening our community and making our roads and our walkways safe, as well as opening our parking areas. And I think they did a really good job. I was up early in the morning because I'm a paramedic, and I worked like 6 a.m. in the morning, and these guys are out pretty early in the morning in order to get that done. And when I went down there to see them on Saturday to thank them, bring them down some muffins, they'd already put in their day, and they were pretty well finished. So, my thanks again to Mr. Roy, his team there in the operations department, and especially for the employees that were out there on the machines getting the work done. And I had an opportunity to really talk to those folks. I talked to the loader operator, which was Mark, and I talked to a couple of the drivers, and then Rob was driving that day, as well as Jeff. And then they had that little machine out there that they do the sidewalks with, and Sheldon was in it. So it's I thought, awesome. Yeah. And then I talked to people who were out there actually consuming the service that they did, and they said they thought that was great. They were able to get through the community easy, and even though it's treacherous out there, so be careful. they were very grateful for all the work that was done. So again, my thanks to our staff and employees for the great job in opening our community and keeping it safe for us. I also wanted to let folks know that the volunteers down at the golf course are busy little beavers. I was down there a number of times, walking around the course and watching these people work, and I'm thinking, isn't the golf season over? But there they are. They're doing some amazing work down there. There's some things that the kitchen is being renovated, fully renovated now. I understand there's some damage that they hadn't anticipated, like water damage and they had to tear out a bunch of walls that they didn't think they were going to have to do, and they were doing that. And so there's teams down there working on that. And then as I walked around, I got to it was hole number 7, one of Councillor Waymar's favorite holes. And what they had done is they've modified that by taking out the front pond. There's a couple of ponds there that are water hazards. And they replaced that, with a level area and grass. And there was a couple of buckets there. You might want to go get them. There were actually buckets with balls had Councillor Waymar's name on it. So there's at least a couple, would you think? Yeah, at least a couple. They're big buckets too. So I'm sure Councillor Waymar's really going to enjoy that renovation to the 7th hole. Yeah, so that was terrific too. And then I got to attend one of the biggest bonfires I've ever been to in my life, and that was Trudy Ann and Mark and his crew that were out there, and they were doing a bunch of pruning throughout the whole course, and they were doing brushing, and they were cutting down trees, and they made this huge big bonfire in the old driving area, where I found a lot of Peter's balls over. They were over there. They were in the logging area. I don't know how they got, but anyways, we won't go there. But anyways, yeah. So again, terrific bonfire. I got some great pictures I can show you guys later if you want to see. They were just amazing. But again, thanks to the folks that worked tirelessly through the off season to make that course so special for us, and we get to enjoy as a municipal course in a small little community like ours. And I feel so blessed every time, when I'm out there and I pinch myself thinking, boy, are we ever fortunate to have this, because without the efforts of these folks behind the scenes, we don't have it. It's that simple. So I'm very grateful to you guys, and I want to acknowledge all the work that you guys did down there, are doing down there. And that's probably enough time for me. We'll move on to something else, but thank you again. So that covers off reports. Information items, work in progress. Council received the work in progress for information. Who'd care to move that? Councillor Pringle, second by Councillor Waymeyer. We had some good discussion last meeting. I don't see any updates on that, but anybody care to comment on it? Any discussion on it? No, everybody's good. Call for the question. All in favor? Done. We move through that one. Report of committees, there's none. Bylaws, none. Correspondence, block correspondence. Council received the block correspondence for information. Who care to move it? Councillor Pringle, second by Councillor Prickard. Any discussion on the item that was in there? No discussion. Everybody's good? Okay, call for the question. All in favor? Received. Done. New business. Councillor Waymer, you're the first one that I've seen that has an item of new business before a discussion invitation. Did you want to speak to that?
Yeah, so I guess I'll introduce the motion that council authorizes Councillor Waymark to coordinate with other North Island local governments in the Strathcona Regional District and Mount Waddington Regional District to create a concurrent motion inviting the Honorable Ravi Parmar to Campbell River for an in-person discussion with local government delegates regarding the state of forestry on the North Island and its importance to North Island communities.
Perfect. Well done. Who would like to move that? Councillor Pringle and Councillor second by Councillor Pickard. Any discussion on the motion? I think it's terrific. Did you want to speak to that, Councillor Moore?
Yeah, so basically Gold River's got a voice, but I mean the whole North Island together has got a much larger voice than us. So what I'd like to do is, communicate with these other councils and try and get like a pretty much simultaneous motion going at council meetings and at the SRD and Mount Waddington regional districts to make that invitation to the new forestry minister and have that discussion so we can really, you know, demonstrate the effect of having forestry in our communities is, and I mean, both, you know, as far as jobs goes, you know, employment and all the other revenues that come along with it.
Yeah, definitely a logging community to support that industry. Great. Any other discussion? Councillor Pickard.
Thank you through the chair. Thanks, Councillor Waymeyer, for bringing this forward. I think it's a great motion and there is kind of strength in numbers, and we're seeing now, because there's a shift in the aquaculture industry, all these places coming together and have their voice and be involved in engagement and consultation. But there's kind of, you know, this is a really good opportunity to do the initiative yourself and ourselves for the North Island and kind of, you know, explain like what a big industry it is, like that our Rhineck thing, community economic development thing showed like the jobs and how big forestry is for Gold River as the #1 employer, where, you know, so it's, I think, really important and awesome that you put this forward. Thank you.
Agreed. Thank you, Councillor Pickard. Councillor Pringle, did you want to weigh in? You're good. No further discussion. Call for the question. All in favor? Carried unanimously. How come Councillor Waymeyer gets all these motions that are carried unanimously and I have to really slog through to get? He's charming, huh? Go to that Waymeyer School of Charm. I think that's what I need to be doing. Okay. Councillor Pickard, did you want to speak to the 2 items that you had brought up?
Thank you. Too hot or more? Okay. Hi, Councillor Fawson. You're with us again. Okay, so I just wanted to, as we're into February, maybe just have a little discussion of who wants to go to UBCM and AVIC and what our budget is and our wants and our dreams and wishes for that for this year. And then also it's soon in a couple days, but the resolutions would be due February 6th. So just see if there's any for AVIC that we wanted to put in. Or I'd like to know anyone's thoughts. Thanks.
Sounds like discussion. Anyone have discussion on, do you want to start? I hear 2 things. One is that, do we have any resolutions that we want to put in and we're in short notice? And that's the first thing I heard. Second thing I heard is that who's interested in going to AVIC, who's interested in going to UBCM? And I think the way that we worked out before is that we agreed that we would have 2 counts. 3 people go to each one and down from the 5. So yeah, so we'd have to figure out, maybe do a little horse trading, maybe depending on who's interested in doing what. Do you want to start off with who wants to go to what event? Because AVIC, I understand, is coming up in April and it's going to be in Nanaimo, as I understand it. So that's probably the first one we need to look at. Councillor Pringle.
I would choose to go to AVIC because UBCM is usually in September. And that's too hard for me to leave my work.
Okay. I would prefer to go to AVIC. I went to UBCM last year. I really enjoyed it, but I'd kind of like to go back and forth. So we'll see how it goes out. But my #1 would be go to AVIC this year, and second one would be go to UBCM. Not unless I'm required to go to UBCM, but because nobody else wants to go. But that's where I am. Councillor Waymeyer.
I've been to both, so I happily fill in the gaps wherever gaps exist.
Okay, so you'd be prepared to go to both then, okay. Councillor Fawson, did you have a preference on what conference you'd like to attend this year, sir?
Your worship, I have no preference. I'll go to either one.
Okay. Then I'm just going to nominate you to go to UBCM.
Okay, thank you.
Fresh face. Counselor Pickard. What were your choices? Your preference?
I would prefer AVIC as it's easier. It's on the weekend, so easier with the girls.
And
you.
second, UBCM? Would be your second choice, or not interested?
It-
Okay, so correct me if I'm wrong, but what I've got here so far is that Councillor Pringle would like to go to the AVIC. And it looks like Councillor Waymire, he's flexible, he'd go to either one. And Councillor Fossen would go to UBCM, and then I would go to AVIC. So it would be you going to AVIC, and then Councillor Waymire and Councillor Fossen going to UBCM. Okay, is that agreeable to everybody?
Yes.
Okay, great, terrific.
Just for council's information, we do have the rooms booked for both events for 3 members of council to attend.
Okay. Sounds good. And do we want to submit a resolution for, that'd be the second part of what I understood that you were proposing, is that we had to get that in by Friday?
Do we have anything shelf ready?
I was thinking the same thing. We probably don't, and it'd be unfair to ask our staff to prepare something this time. So I would think that we don't go with resolutions this year. Is that agreeable? Or does somebody want to, is there somebody very passionate about what they want to have as a resolution this year and willing to do the work and have it available by the Friday? I'll start off. I can't. My schedule won't allow me to do that. Not that I don't think it's valuable, but I just don't have the time to do that at this point. And I don't think staff has the time to do that at this point either. So Councillor Waymire.
I was considering how we can bring housing into Gold River, and I mean, that was part of a resolution of what the government could do for us, and that's kind of where this next piece that in the notice of motion kind of came from, of what can we do for ourselves before we start asking the government what can they do for us?
Right.
What tools are we taking advantage of? So, I mean, that was the big topic I wanted to tackle, and I don't think it's going to be a resolution this year, but you know, maybe next year.
Yeah, terrific. They're planting the seeds, so it sounds like very John F. Kennedy-ish. I like that. Terrific. Okay. Those are new businesses, so do we need to give you a motion in order to do any of that, Administrator Wright? Because these are items that are new business, but we haven't passed any motions yet for anything. Other than, do you need a motion for the people that we would like to send to AVIC and UBCM?
The AVIC stuff I'll just take as direction, and once the registration opens for AVIC, which if it hasn't opened, is opening up very shortly. So
Okay, and then so we want to authorize staff then in our motion to register the participants in the AVIC and UBCM based on the conversation that we had tonight. And you have the names down who wants to go to each one, so I don't have to repeat that. So that's the motion. Who would care to move it? Councillor Pringles, second, Councillor Pickard. Sorry, Henry. Sorry, I'm terrible at this this virtual stuff, so my apologies. I'm kind of looking at bodies. So moved by Councillor Pringle and second by Councillor Fossen. Okay,
Thank you.
All in favor? Call for question. All in favor? Carried unanimously. We did that, and we don't need anything for the for submitting for that. So that's good. We can move on, I would think. To your notice of motion, I think we can move on. Yeah, I don't want to do question period. I have a choice, don't I? Administrator Wright, does the chair have the ability not to do something that's on the agenda?
I'm pretty sure, Your Worship, you know the answer to that.
That's why he's such a good diplomat. I love that. He's a great public servant. Okay, question period. Start off with online questions, or any online questions, any gallery questions? Seeing none, moving on. Phew, dodge a bullet there. After last meeting, I was expecting Jenny to phone in and ask some hard questions, but guess so that's not gonna happen. Too bad. I was looking forward to that tonight. Notice of motion, Counselor Waymire, would you care to take the floor on this one, sir? I guess, let me actually do it a little differently here. Let's just start off with the motion that council proceed in camera pursuant to section, oh no, that's not that. Okay, we're not doing that. We're doing notice of motion. How come that's weird? That's kind of weird the way, anyways, that's my fault. Go ahead, Counselor Pringle, or Counselor Waymire. I know, I lost it there for a
I'm not
second.
that good looking.
Can we, is there any way we can delete some of the feed? Oh, no, you own it? It's in perpetuity now? Oh, damn. Okay,
So this is a notice of motion to be presented at our next council meeting. The motion being that council provides direction to staff to provide council a report on a revitalization tax exemption for residential, commercial, and industrial to support the development of properties in Gold River. And yeah,
excellent. Okay. So we're just giving a notice of motion. We don't have to, that's just for information. Thank. And everybody's happy with that? Did anybody have any questions that they wanted to address to Councilor Waymire? No, everybody's good. We can move on. Great. I think that pretty well does it. We're going to be moving into in camera now. We love having your company, but we're going to kick you out. The motion is a council on proceeding camera pursuant section 91C, labor relations or other employee relations. Anybody care to move that? Councilor Waymire? Did you want to second that again, Councilor Fawcett? Second by Councilor Fawcett. Any discussion? No. Call for the question. All in favor? We are now going into camera. Thank you, ladies, for coming out.